Hello, welcome back.
Ah,
It's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a
who
while.
who are
Um,
you?
I don't know. I'm just a bloke sitting here in a Tottenham shirt. I'll have you know, Tottenham shirt. I had to check my wardrobe before I started today because I realised I had a shirt on and it looked a different team's colours, and I
Not
thought,
parrot again. Not parrot and blue again, was it?
and I just thought to myself, I'm going to get ripped, so I'm not going to do it. I'm just gonna wear me Tottenham shirt and keep that fucker quiet and stop him aggravating me. So
What
there you
fuck
go.
is that then?
You.
That one.
That's an outrageous comment to make. That's it. I'm off. Bollocks.
Outrageous, but true. So anyway, listen. For anyone who's just joined, leader Dorset Spur, I am back with my first live stream of the 25-26 season. I am joined, of course, by my great friends, affectionately known as the Essex Boys. Great
All
to have you back,
right.
boys.
Good to
Good
How
see
you
you,
all
mate. Good to
doing?
see. All right, mate. All right, you?
Yeah, not too bad. Have you had a
Busy?
good summer? Have you had a good summer? That's the question.
Sun's too hot. Ask Dean. I've been moaning about it.
Look at it. Look at the
dear.
colour. Look at the colour of him. He ain't done it like he's even seen the sun. He's
Well,
like
No.
a
I'm
vampire.
I'm a bit tanned up. Not as tanned up as you, but yeah, no. Been all right, Lee. It's been all right. It's been a very boring break, I must admit. I'm
But
glad it's back.
but
I'm pissed off going shopping. I know that.
But surely, this has got to have been a good summer in the fact that you could bask in the glory of being European champions. No,
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yes, indeed. 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 As was sung quite loudly on Saturday. Me and Dean had a great night out watching that
I
at the
have to
stadium.
say, being in Canvey Island and that, and the big West Ham fan area that it is, you must have been bowling around like cock on the north, surely.
No, they was all hiding. I ain't seen any of them.
But I thought they was massive.
Yeah, massive cocks. How about that? Massive hammers. Oh, irons. Irons. Yeah, all right, mate. I can do one.
Well, listen, I've had a really nice summer. It's been great to be able to walk around and not have to worry about Arsenal fans or West Ham fans or Man United fans bantering me constantly about never winning trophies, trophy dodgers, and all the rest of it. And I've seen loads of stuff, and I've been quite happily smiling to myself when people are bantering Arsenal fans about always coming second and never winning anything. So for me, it's been a great time. But lots of stuff has happened, and we haven't really had a chance to kind of chat and talk about those things. So I thought I'll put up a list of all the different things that have happened over the last couple of months since the end of the season and since we haven't been talking. I thought we could just have a Miranda through them and see what you think. Is that all right?
Go
Yeah,
for it.
mate.
That's
Yeah,
perfect.
So let's start off then, right? The big thing, the big decision that was taken by Tottenham was to let Ange Postecoglou go. How did you feel about that one? Big story, surely.
Thank fuck for that. It's our fault. To be
I
honest with
mean,
you.
you can't justify him coming 17th, but it all come down to that final. If we lost that final, no one would have said he has to stay. He has to stay. So
No.
it's very hit or miss, and I think it's more not the logical sense. I think more people are emotionally attached to Ange than we thought, because a lot of people were saying, "Oh, he's great. He's won us a trophy, the good memories and stuff like that." But you're like, on paper, he's not all that. It's like Sevilla every year in La Liga, winning something, becoming 17th, and then getting relegated. You don't want to be associated with that kind of football. So it's
Oh,
Ange getting sacked was more of an emotional thing, definitely, not a logical thing.
Yeah, no, I
For the
agree with
fans,
that.
anyway.
I did get a bit emotionally attached after winning the Europa League and that, and especially the bit that did it for me was the parade. What an amazing that parade
Oh yeah,
that was, and with him going, season 3 is always better than season 2. He had me hooked. I got to be honest.
yeah, same.
I got to be honest.
yeah, but I think we was all living in the moment, though. I mean, which was a nice moment, but
Yeah,
all
yeah.
living in the moment. Like we've said before, we don't know what's happening behind the scenes, sort of thing. But the parade was a good day. We went. It was a bit hectic, a very long walk. But no, it was a lovely day. There was nice weather. Yeah, it was good.
I mean, it looked amazing on the telly. Obviously, I was working, so I had to make do with watching it on YouTube. It looked amazing, I have to say, more than I expected. I didn't expect it to be such a massive event. I knew there'd be a lot of people, but over 200,000 people, they reckon, and it looked amazing on the screen.
Yeah, but half of those were
Spurs said there was
tourists.
more. The Spurs reckon there were more, about like a good
Yeah.
300 and something thousand.
Yeah,
Wow.
not that much, really, surely.
It was the whole of the high street. The whole high road was completely packed from top to bottom.
I don't know how the buses. I don't know how them bus stops stayed up. I really don't. There was people hanging from lamp posts, from bus stops, on top of roofs. Mate, if one of them had gone, that would have been it. They'd have gone, oh no, you help with safety, but no, mate, it was absolutely brilliant. Really,
if you
really
go
was.
now, you'll probably still find confetti on the floor.
Yeah, without a doubt. I've done it. I mean, we've got like loads of it, but we started off at the Gilpin and the LT outside LTs. It came down. Then we went down to watch them turn into Sainsbury's. Then we went and we was like right out the front. Unbelievable! Just pushed your way through, and it was such a brilliant day.
Yeah, I'd say it looked absolutely amazing. I have to say, I was envious really that I didn't make the trip up, but say I was working and I thought, I'm not going to be able to do it and all the rest of it. And then watching it on there, I was really, really envious about it. But yeah, so a big decision. But I say that's the bit that caught me was the season 3 will always be better than season 2, and I was just kind of hoping that this was the turning point where Tottenham would start to realise that they now needed to make those big signings. So what did you make? What did you make of them bringing in Thomas Frank? Then forget about the results or the performances recently, but in terms of him being appointed, what was your view on that?
I mean, for me, I saw Frank come into the club a while ago. In terms of who could you see after Ange, and that's all because of one rumor that happened about when we first got Ange and we signed Bergvall and we got Gray. And we got Dragusin and we got Vuskovic. And the rumour is that these players aren't for Ange, they're for the manager after. And if you remember, 2 of those players I mentioned, Brentford tried to go in for. So I don't know if there was off the book talks or anything like that, but everyone remembers Gray getting nabbed off of Brentford last minute, and even Brentford trying to tap up Bergvall before Barcelona. So they were the first ones at the door. So it's very I kind of saw him coming from a fair distance away, but also because he for a manager, he's young, and Levy has said that for the past few years that prior to Ange, he was like, we need a new take, fresh start, tactics, attractive football, and in all fairness, that's what Frank brings to the table.
I mean, my initial reaction was right, and this is just me being as I am, right. You just won a trophy with a manager who's got a record of winning things, right? He's done it with all them injuries, all them problems, not some and loads of experience required, all that sort of stuff. And I thought you now need to kind of spend the money. But what you're doing is you're bringing in a manager who's never won anything, who's never had to get involved in Europe, never won any kind of trophies or anything like that, doesn't have that kind of CV. So I was like, is this just another reset, rebuild? Stop the fans getting too excited about, are we now going to start spending money? That's how I felt at the time. What, Dean, can you see the point I'm making? Or
I can. The thing about it is he deserved a little bit more time because of what he did, but at the same time, if you look at the league position, he should have gone a while ago. But he seemed to have like galvanised the team and had them like playing as a unit, and when you look back at all the stuff you see online, it seemed that he went, fuck the league. We ain't going to do anything. There's no way that we can make any more than 10th if we were so lucky and won every game. Let's concentrate on this and get a cup, because that's what I've been brought here to do. And I've told people that's what I do in my second year. I always win.
Yeah.
And he told the truth. He did win. And it was a brilliant night. I mean, me and Al, we went down to the stadium, and Mason went down to the stadium. It's brilliant. You know, we couldn't
was
go to
good.
Bilbao, but it was absolutely just a great night. But you know yourself, football is a results game, and if you're not getting the results, you've got to go. I mean, better man have gone. So you know, it was. But Thomas Frank, I like. I mean, if you'd have said, right, there's some managers in the Prem, who are you going to take? Who would you like to take on? In that list would have been Frank, without a doubt. You know, he's good. I mean, you look at what he's done with no money, you know, to then get money. But like Mason said, he hasn't had to do anything in Europe. He hasn't had to do like mega cup runs, and he hasn't had the expectations that you get as a Spurs fan. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that pans out.
I have to say, I thought, like, even from the start with the kind of media, how he's been with Spurs TV, all that kind of stuff, and his interviews and everything. I thought he's brought a kind of I don't know, a bit of a calmness to things, kind of tempered things down, got a bit organised. The coaching thing I thought was really interesting, bringing in all those different coaches and stuff, and the coaching stuff, because he's known for being a coach, hands-on, can change his tactics, all that kind of stuff. I think that's what we need, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, you saw it on. We was talking on Saturday. I talked to the guy that's sitting next to me, Pete and Ryan. You saw how animated Frank was compared to Ange. Ange had his hands in his pockets or looking at the floor, waiting for a bus, right? Whereas Thomas Frank is like, the second they passed it back, he went, "What are you doing? There's the ball. Look at you, what you're supposed to be doing. Get it across. You go over there." And he was marshalling everything. And that's why the tempo kept on going.
Yeah, I have to say that was one of the big things we called out constantly, didn't we? Like Ange not doing anything, not doing anything with the any coaching, any kind of direction. He'd just kind of stand there with his hands on his pockets, put his head down, and he was just shaking his head and looking miserable. And for me, I was that was really, really frustrating me. It was the big thing that really annoyed me, because I really liked Ange as a person. I thought the way he conducted himself, especially with the pressure he was under, because there was pressure from the fans, there was pressure from the board, there was pressure from the press. Everyone was after him the whole time. So I felt sorry for him. I love an underdog, but I have to say, with what I've seen so far of Frank, forgetting about the results, like I said, but even kind of coming in, I've been really impressed with how he's kind of come across, So
yeah, it's a bit like the Super Cup thing. That was a little bit sad, because to make the changes he made at the time he made, and when we were so on top, and to make that many, it kind of like the wheels just come off. We looked so disjointed, and that's why they was in it. But, and it is a big but, they're PSG. They're not shit. They're not all right. Chelsea might look a bit crappy, right? But they are not shit. They're an absolutely brilliant team. And if you'd have said it before the game, we'd be in it and then sort of lose on penalties, you'd have gone, okay, yeah, I'll take that. Rather than being, I said to Mason, I said I can't watch it because I think we're in for a proper tonking, and we weren't. We were 2 up. So things are looking good. But it is early. I mean, remember when Ange took over? We had 10 games on the bounce.
Yeah.
Here comes this, the second coming.
Yeah, but I think the difference being, Dean, is the tactics have changed, and they seem to work. The 2 games that we've seen him play, or whatever, how many you say, I've only seen 2, but his tactics seems to work. It seems to be a more attacking football than left, right, back, left, right, back. Wait for it. So I think the tactics have changed, and I think it's for the better.
I
think as well,
and he does slow the game down. We could have kept going at Burnley, but we didn't. We slowed the game down so the players didn't have to do as much running, because they didn't have to do it. Right? They knew where they was going. You knew what Burnley was going to do: ball over the top, chase it down the left. That's what was going to happen, and all that to do was marshal the 2 wingers. Easy game.
Got the stats here. It says we had 67% of possession of that game. So I mean, we ruled that.
The question is, right, what's interesting about that, right, because you just hit the nail on the head, really, about the tactics. the thing we've just seen out of the two games that are real competitive games, because the Super Cup was competitive, right? And Saturday was a competitive game. The tactics in both of those games totally different. Whereas with Ange, they'd have been exactly the same. Because if you look at the PSG stats, I think Brad was telling me it was saying. I mean, I didn't believe it, but Brad was telling me that I think they said we were somewhere in the sort of 20% bracket of possession. Whereas in that one, you just said, what did you say, 67% or something?
67%, yeah.
Yeah. So that shows you the difference between how he's playing against one of the best teams in Europe against how you're playing against your, with all due respect to Burnley, your bread and butter teams of the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
And you could afford to make that changes. And I do think those substitutions that he did in the Super Cup were with Burnley in mind at the weekend, because they put so much effort into that. They must, and he knew he's going to need to play Kudos, and he knows he's going to need to play Richie. So you can't. I guess he's trying to balance that out. Want to 2-0 up? You're thinking you're in a good place, right?
Fucking Spurs. Do you know what?
That's what I like about Frank, is that we approach both games very differently, but still effectively. He's very, very diverse in his tactics. Like, no, everyone wanted to see a free back with Ange, with Danzo, Van der Ven, and Romero, and he only showed it at the last 20 minutes of the final when we needed to dig in. But Frank has come in and he's gone, you know what? Three at the back, we'll do it. And that was against PSG.
To make one point now, Mason, we don't use the words diverse on here. All right. Could lead in all kinds of different angles and directions.
Yeah, very,
only with you. Only with you.
Keep it simple.
He's very he has lots of different ways to approach a game. There you go, is that better? Danzo is especially his friends as well. Christ, like, we've got another Delap on our hands now. Did you see how far he's throwing them balls in? Christ.
Yeah. I think someone said in the chat earlier, I think it might have even been Bradders, right? About set pieces have improved massively. I mean, those two goals from against PSG, both set pieces. I mean, when was the last time we were kind of dangerous at set pieces? I can't remember.
Set pieces with that, mate. Sorry.
I mean, I remember with contact, we was okay with set pieces, but even then we let that set piece coach go to Watford. And I don't know why. I remember for a brief period, like a good 6 months, we were dangerous at set pieces, but then with Ange it kind of went, because we had I think Jedinak and Ryan Mason, who have never really coached set pieces before, got stuck in and they led the whole thing.
I think he has kind of got his coaching kind of set up now, has he? Right, properly. Matt Wells is taking the defensive side. Justin Cochran, he's doing the offensive side. Then you got the set piece coach and all the rest of it. Then you got individual fitness people and all the rest of it. He's kind of really got it sorted out, and they're kind of working as a team, right, as opposed to kind of everything has to go through the manager. You know, they kind of got their own ideas and their own bits that they look after. And I think it's clear to them who's looking after what, and they're kind of working on their own bits, you know. I think that kind of shows a level of maturity, really, in something we probably needed in terms of a better structure and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's been good. So
it's about structure and being organised, isn't it, really? You know, a team's not a team if it hasn't got those two major parts in it, sort of thing. So yeah, like you say, maybe he's bringing a bit of calmness in the back rooms as such, and then maybe pointing us in the right direction in a nice, positive, controlled manner. So we'll just have to see though. It's, like Dean said, it's early days, isn't it? But if you can get all those together, we should have some good results. And again, watching good football, because I mean I enjoyed it Saturday. It was literally more or less non-stop, wasn't it? You know, I think the only, I think they all had a good bash at it as such. Vicario's not in my top 10 at the moment, but yeah, they all look like they enjoyed themselves as well, and everyone was putting a shift in.
Yeah, I think that's the important thing. Is seeing how much the players seem to be gelling and working together as a unit, as opposed to like it being one standout person or whatever.
But you get excited when someone like Spence gets the ball, aren't you?
Yeah,
I mean, Kudos gets the ball. You think, oh,
Yeah, I mean Spence, I think has been really really good. Bearing in mind he's supposed to be a right back, but he's playing as in this left back role, and he's not been letting us down at all. I think he really kind of has grown up and stepped up. And like I say, I
mean,
know we'll talk about
it
people
was
coming
less
in,
than a
but
year ago, though.
Kudos was, yeah. I mean that's the point, right? I
Yeah.
mean at the beginning of the last season, he wasn't even really. He was going to Girona, wasn't he?
Yeah, we couldn't give him away for 5
Mm.
million. They were haggling over like £500,000. But now you wouldn't even think about getting rid of him, would you?
No. Well, he's just signed a new contract, right?
I'm saying it's mental. It's mental how things can change in a year.
Especially when you consider his best performances have come from a position that's not even his position.
Mm-hmm.
See, again, then we don't know what's happening in the background, do we? That's made him change his mind or whatever. Opportunities have come his way, so he can see he can move forward and get more out of the team. So he's probably decided to stay there. So
Yeah.
if there's that many changes happening in the background, why wouldn't you stay there?
No, absolutely. I mean, one of the big changes this year has obviously been the departure of Heung-min Son. How did you feel about that?
Well, there were some seats missing next to me on Saturday, so yeah, I don't know where they've gone.
I knew you were going to start with that.
Well, fucking.
But
Saurus.
I mean, in terms of the squad, I think ultimately I think it's probably a good thing, right?
Yes, yeah. I think he was probably upset himself with his performance with the team, where he's not meeting his mark anymore. So I think it's good for him to go. And yeah, slow down a
his
bit.
time was up, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
You saw in pre-season and even towards the end of last season, you were like, "Sonny, mate, it's not looking too good." And
Half time.
I mean, even Son said he put his hands up and said he feels like he's not good enough, and he doesn't want to have the picture of Son be distorted because he's done a lot for the club. So I think he kind of left at the, he's just won his last professional game was a trophy. I don't think there is a better see you later story than that.
Yeah, no, probably, mate. You're right. I think it was the right time for him to go.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I guess the big thing about it though is it was still, even though I guess I think we'd all been saying it's probably a good time for him to move and so on, right? But it's still quite emotional seeing him that upset about leaving and that as well. I thought it really did touch me a little bit about like seeing someone spent 10 years at a club, grew up there, finally getting that monkey off your back and getting a trophy and stuff. I think it was fitting the way he left. I thought he was very classy in the way he left, like the message to the fans and all the rest of it. There was one video I watched where he was a bit snotty and a bit teary, which kind of being an old softy that I am, brought a bit of a tear to me eye. I know Alex won't give a monkeys because he's a hard-hearted person. But Dean, come on, tell me, you got to have been touched by that, surely.
Yeah, I mean, he put out quite a few videos, didn't he? Like, and one was like, "We're going to do this," and everybody was like, "Hank is ready." That's how you want to go out, right? You want to go out as a legend, right? You want to go out, just won a trophy, and rather than hang on and go, "Oh, come on, Sonny, like give it on, sit on the bench," he went, and we got money. So, what a way to go. The saddest part of it was that he went straight into the MLS and started playing, rather than I'm going, but I want to come to Burnley and then go. Rather than not even playing a game, just come round and walk around and say goodbye to the fans. But I think he'd already kind of done that, with the trophy. The last game of the season when it was a crap game, but nobody cared.
Isn't he winning the World Cup for that team he's gone with, apparently?
Ah,
Did you see
idiots.
Actually, did you see that? You're winning the World Cup for us, aren't you? Yeah,
No,
I am, yeah.
No. Actually, I'm still South Korean, although I play in the MLS.
Pay me a bit more.
Yeah, you dipstick.
No, I have to say I was touched with him leaving, but like I say, I think it was the right decision. It kind of made sense to me, and that. But of course, the other one that's really kind of hit home a little bit at the moment is Maddison with his ACL. That's a massive blow, right?
Yeah.
It just looked
Well.
it's such an innocuous challenge, and he sort of like went, oh, and then he just realised, I'm fucked. I can't walk, and down he went. But just going back onto the Sonny thing, right? The difference between Sonny leaving and the way Kane and Kane leaving, Sonny's hit home more than Kane ever would. Right?
Oh,
Kane
yeah.
was brilliant. Right? Kane had all the stats, all all the figures, everything. But you listen to the way he talks now, he barely mentions Spurs. He was asked, give us your 5 favourite goals. Oh, this one, like England, Bayern, England. Well, what about the time when you was at Spurs and you sort of won the lot, and you got the goal for the most assists, the goal for the most, but nothing. He just didn't give us a lot of the time of day. So that's kind of strange.
Yeah, but I think
Do you think?
we've said.
Do
I
you
think
think
we
he's
said
burnt?
before though. God, that's definitely they are a bit. They have to be a bit mercenary. Don't they?
Do you think? Do you think though he's burnt a lot of bridges because of the fact that he didn't get the opportunity to go when he really wanted to go over that gentleman's agreement thing with City and all that? Do you think that kind of put him in a situation where he was like, I've lost my love for the club because of how I was treated? Like,
Yeah, I
because
think
these
so.
things go on behind closed doors, right? So we don't really know what really happened in the conversations and stuff. But do you think maybe he lost a bit of love from that?
Yeah, who was he talking? Was it Gary Neville? He was walking around the golf course. We were talking to him. Yeah, that you could see that, as much as he'd like been brought up and loved by Spurs, I think then he went, look, I now need to go away. I now need to get a bigger club mentality. I want to start winning things. I don't want to just go there and not be happy that I play for my boyhood club. I get that because we all move, don't we? We all get different jobs. We all start working for other people. But it's the way you leave
I don't
and
think
what you
he wants
say
to look.
afterwards.
I don't think he wants to look back, does he? He just wants to look forward all the time. It's the mentality again, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
the
I think
interesting
that's got
thing,
a lot to do with it.
there's a thing out there, like from a managerial point of view, where they say people don't leave jobs, they leave bad management and stuff like that. And I think, if you're working for a good boss, you kind of give a little bit, don't you? And you enjoy your time and you work harder for them because you do it because you want to, not because you have to and stuff. And I think in any walk of life, whatever you do, whether you're a builder, whether you're a locksmith, whether you're a senior program manager, or whatever, you still want to work for good people, right? You still want to have a good relationship and stuff. So, and I think if you burn your bridges with your employer, then it makes it difficult to see the good times. And maybe that's something that'll happen later on when his career's over and so on. Maybe he'll love us again.
The whole thing with Kane, though, if we're being brutally honest, he was let down not only because of the gentleman agreement and other stuff, but the board let him down, and by not backing the team. We had 2 superstars in Kane and Son, and you had players like Emerson Royale and Tanganga, Winks, Skip, all playing behind them. It's a miracle we got top 4 that season, them 2 there when Son won the Golden Boot. They let them. It was the wrong. Sorry, good players at the wrong time. If you put Kane, prime Son now in the quality that we kind of have now with because in my opinion, defense is fine. Defense is completely fine now. The attack is so-so. The midfield is kind of pretty good, but they were if we're being honest, they were let down. Every single window it was Kane and Son. Are they staying? Are they going? Are they going to get more quality in the team? And they didn't. Every time they didn't. They kind of just danced around it. We were very lucky that Kulusevski and Bentancur have turned out the way they have, because they weren't going to spend money when we were going for the top 4 of Conte. And I think they've kind of, since Conte leaving, I think they've got a grasp of that, because I'm not being funny, they've spent. Udigui's a great player. Van der Ven's a great player. Vicario is, obviously, he can be improved on, but he's a good player. Porro is a great player. I mean, Romero we bought anyway. The midfield we've kind of invested for the future, but even then, Bentancur, Sarr, and Palhinha, they're great players. Kudus is great. Just imagine that team of Kane and Son in there without being let down.
Yeah, it's interesting how these kind of things pan on. I just want to touch, because we just mentioned about Gary Neville, So I'm going to ask a question. I'll probably lose a few viewers now, right? But what did you watch the interview with Daniel Levy? Anyone watch
Yeah,
that?
I watched it.
No,
What did you make it? What did you make of it, Mason? If you're the one who watched it, I'll ask you.
It was more like Neville will be like, "Oh, so let's talk about the football because you haven't spent." And Levy goes, "Yeah, but look at the concert that's coming this weekend." It was very much. He kept trying to deflect, didn't he? That's the vibe I got of it. And whenever Neville would press him about it, he would go, "Well, all due respect, blah blah." It's different. It's just, but it's not. You're like one of the most expensive. Sorry, the most financially backed club, but you don't do anything about it. Neville touched on that a few times. But all Levy wanted to talk about was, look, we make our own beer. There's a concert behind us. Look at how great this stadium is. It's like, yeah, that's great, Daniel, but we're not on about that.
Didn't it feel? It felt to me like that could have been a series of interviews, right? And I really don't think that Gary Neville pushed enough. There was like some of the stuff he said.
Oh no!
There was like that for me. There'd have been follow-ups to that.
Are you back?
Oh no! We can
Who's gone?
We can see.
Who's gone?
Oh no!
Who's gone? I can see everyone.
I think Dean's gone.
No, Dean, you good? I can see Dean.
Oh well, Dean.
Can you still see me for sure?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're just winding
Just
me up.
winding you up. Would we do that?
No, we sort of you froze, and then I did a lot of spinning wheel of death.
Oh no. Anyway, so what I was saying was, it felt to me like there could have been a series of those interviews with Daniel Levy. One where he could have talked about the stadium and all that kind of business side of it, and then one when he was talking about the actual football. And I felt that Gary Neville should have pushed more. Like he should have challenged him more on some of the points that he made and everything else. But I did think to myself, I did a video about it, but one of the things I thought to myself was, doesn't it feel like there's a bit of a charm offensive happening with Daniel Levy and the board and that? Do you think they're trying to be a little bit more, seen a little bit more and try and show a little bit more and kind of give a little bit more of an insight without really giving an insight? But you know what I mean?
That's why they brought in that Vinay. That's why they brought in the new C. Well, I don't know what his position is, but Vinay. That's why they brought him in. His whole thing was, I mean, when he was at Arsenal, they're the whole reason for the whole North London Forever bit. His whole thing is getting the fans on side. That's why they got him. They've said that since day dot. He comes in and he gets a connection. When his first game after he come in was Bodo Glimt. You know, when we played the away leg and all the away fans got given a free scarf. That was Vinay. His whole job is to get fans and club together. And in all fairness, he's done a decent job so far. Obviously, he's only been here for like 6 months, but that's their whole thing. They're very much trying to show that the board is trying to understand what the fans want.
Yeah, we're talking
he's trying
about.
To sell I did see about a couple of minutes of it, I must admit, but it did feel like you say, like a bit of an advert. Look at us, sort of thing. Not so much.
I thought there was some good, interesting points in there. You know, about I think the one thing that I kind of picked up of it, you know, the brewery thing. He Neville said to him, "Oh, do you own the brewery then? Did you buy the brewery?" And he went, "No, I wish I had." Because that Beavertown Brewery has really taken off, right? I mean, you can see it everywhere now, even in the local pubs and that. You see all that beer everywhere, and I bet Daniel Levy's absolutely kicking himself now that he missed out on that. So,
definitely,
yeah. But yeah, I thought it was an interesting conversation. But I felt there was far more out of it, and I thought that Gary Neville really could have pushed more to get more footballing matters out of it, and really challenge him on some of the stuff he was saying. You know, I mean, they had the conversation about Ange and that, but then I just thought to myself, you know, you could have pushed him on that. You know, why did you make that decision, and where do you expect to go now? What makes you think that Thomas Frank is gonna be able to take you to that next level when he's never won anything and he's never played in Europe and stuff? Like, get some specifics. I want to know some specifics about that. What was the thought process behind it? But I do agree with Mason over the Venkatesham guy coming in. I think that is his role. The PR and all that kind of stuff is to get us closer to what's happening in the board and that, and try and give a bit more of a face to the board and a little bit more kind of joint up and stuff, like you say, the flag thing that have been doing, the scarves, all that kind of stuff, the fan boards and all the rest of it. And I mean, even like this weekend where they put out a thing asking all the fans to wear white shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
Again, I know Alex didn't, because he likes to be a rebel, but the rest of us were all wearing white shirts. I think Dean wasn't wearing a white shirt either, another rebel.
Yeah, go on.
But
Pick on me because I'm little.
They're not South Stand. They're not South Stand, are
Yeah,
they?
we're not South Stand.
Oh no, they're
so
in the
they're
seniors
side.
bit, aren't they?
In their defence, they're not in South Stand. The email did say if you're in South Stand, but if you are
Thank
going,
you, Mason.
it's all good.
It's sticking
Thank
up
you,
for your
Mason.
dad.
Yeah,
we've got to.
someone's got to.
First time. There's a first time. There's a first time for everything. First time for
that's
everything. So I guess the other thing I really kind of wanted to touch on is now about transfers and all that kind of stuff. So we have brought in Polina for the number 6 spot. One we've always been calling out for, right? We've been calling out for that for a while. A defensive midfield player that can come in and shield us. I know last season we were talking about why the hell did we let Oibe go when he could have done a job for us in that position, because we were desperately short there. But what do you make of Polina coming in? I know he's only had 1 and a bit games, but it's looking like the right sort of player.
Yeah, he's decent. He is decent. He's just got this disciplinary record, mate. He loves a tackle and he loves a card. Again, he needs somebody in his ear saying, we don't need to do that. Let's get that out of your game. I mean, look at Romero now. He hardly gets a booking now, unless he has to have one. Right? He used to get them all the time, but now he goes, no, don't need to do that. No, don't need to do that. And if he has to put somebody in Rosehead, he will. That's only for. But yeah, I like him. I do like him. I mean, we've made some brilliant. I think we've made some brilliant signings. But it's like everything. Early days. We'll see how brilliant they are on a rainy night in Stoke.
Well, so I guess the other big one that we've brought in is Kudus. I know we've kind of touched on that, but what have you made of him so far? Good signing, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, even Dad, when we first signed Kudus, it was very much like, oh, is he just another player that's just gonna not really scratch the surface of his potential type thing? This conversation we had, and I was like, well, if you can get Kudus from his first season in the Premier League, he's worth every penny, because he was insane in the European nights. Even in Ajax, he was very good. Just so far, his whole game, which is very, very good, you cannot get him off the ball. He's a faster Kulusevski. You cannot get him off the ball. He's got a bit of trickery in his feet. He can always whip the ball in back stick. He's a very good player, and I think West Ham fans, I think they're just on a bit of copium at the moment, taking their copium pills just because, we had to let him go. We had to let him go. He's good luck getting something good out of him. We'll take the £55 million. Yeah, all right, mate. We took your best player. And I know you don't like to admit it now, but he was your best player. And he's showing that so far. He's a very good player. And I think there's a lot more to come of him.
I mean, the bit for me, which I kind of talked about today in a video, was around the fact that he can whip the ball in, like you just said, and the fact that that's something that's just been missing so much. We've relied on Porro to be putting the ball in, whereas Johnson just never did that. So to kind of have him whipping them balls in, we saw he put the balls in, and no shock really that Richarlison was on the end of 2 of them. The second goal, obviously, on Saturday, I know we could talk about the game a bit in a minute, but the first one he swept home, and the second one, was an absolute worldie. But I mean, unless you put the ball in the box, he's not going to get anything, is he? So is this the missing link? I think Brad put it in the chat earlier. Is this the missing link that Kudus is going to be able to put the ball in and give Richarlison something to work on? Because I think that's the best I've seen Richarlison play since he's been with us.
Oh yeah,
we're at that. But when you play West Ham or you watch West Ham, as soon as Kudus got the ball, you went, oh, hang on a minute, something's going to happen. And he can play left and right. So, what a brilliant player to have. And yeah, 55 million, bit of money, but I think a great signing. As proved on Saturday, he was just everywhere. He was immense. You couldn't knock him off the ball. They were trying to barge him, get there with the knees, and that. Not a chance, mate. He's got such a low centre of gravity. He just spins away. He's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I didn't think he was as good as he was, but obviously, you had the same sort of thing. You had Bowen running through the middle, and Kudos just going, "Bob, you have it. Bob, you have it." And look what happened. West Ham got smashed, mate, because they had no service, and it all come from him.
Yeah. No, I was really impressed with him. Like I say, when he in that first season where he was at West Ham and he played us, I thought he played really, really well. And then when he got sent off in the other game, I was like really pleased that he got sent off because he was looking really, really dangerous. And I think it's West Ham will rue that. And I thought 55 million in the end was a good price for him, given the amount of money that's being banded around on transfers at the moment. 55 million feels like a bit of a steal, really, because I think they were after a lot more than that. So I was shocked when it come out. It was 55 million, and the fact that it's over 3 years as well, which was another thing, because I thought West Ham were desperate for the money, and that's why they wanted it all up front. But
they're about to be evicted, didn't they?
to get him for that, I think he's really, really good. I was really chuffed with that. But obviously, I think the other one we've got to talk about, I guess, just very, very quickly, is Kota Takaya coming in from the Japanese lad. Haven't seen anything of him. He's coming. He's injured. He's got plantar fasciitis in his foot.
Yeah,
which means he's injured, and that's a really difficult one because that's one of the ones that you just never know how that's gonna fix itself. So I'm not sure whether we'll see much of him at the moment. But £5 million worth a punt.
Yeah, cool. So I mean, if that doesn't sum up our medical department enough. They didn't know he had that until he was in training. They didn't. They signed him and was like, "Oh fuck!" If that doesn't sum up the medical department or our transfer strategy enough, then I don't know what is. That is the best thing in terms of how you can sum up our transfer strategy is by getting a young lad in who has very high potential, but you don't miss that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously, give him a punt. You never know what's going to happen. He might very much be the next coming of Van Dijk, but you never know. But for £5 million, you can't say no to it.
No, I think it's worth sort of taking on board just to kind of see how that pans out. And we do like to bring in a player from different markets, don't we? Because there is obviously a market value for some of these players, in the same way that why LA have bought Son. It's the biggest Asian community in America. So of course they want the biggest Asian star to play in America for their team. He has outsold all the shirts of Messi and Ronaldo, which kind of shows the pool that he's got there. And I guess you've got to explore those commercial markets and that as well. So I mean, we haven't seen anything of him, so we can't say whether he's a good player or a bad player or not.
I'm not going to pretend like, yeah, I'm not going to pretend like I watch him at all. But when we signed him, obviously you see those videos come out, and for a young man doing what he was doing, I think in terms of in the air, he looked very good. He looks like, how Romero breaks those lines. He can get the ball from defense to attack just with one straight pass. He looked very similar in terms of that. Obviously, not to the quality of Romero, but he looked like his game was very similar to that. So maybe it is another strategy of we need a Romero backup. Maybe he's one for the long term. So his game looks quite good. And if you didn't know, that broke the Japanese transfer market as well in terms of the record. I think that's the most expensive player ever paid for at the Japanese league.
Yeah. I mean, and the other one, of course, we've got in there. I'm not sure whether he's going out on loan or not, because we have sent out a lot of players on loan recently, certainly in this market. But is Vuskovic, who came in and had a debut and scored and assisted in his first game. What did you make of him? Did any of you see that game? Was it Luton? I think I might be wrong.
I watched the game, and in all fairness, if we loan him out, then we're gonna. I mean, we're all we all get the yearly injury crisis, and I think he should stay in the squad because the quality looks crazy. He was the highest scoring. I mean, obviously, it doesn't really matter because he's a centre half, but he was the highest scoring 20-year-old or 19-year-old. No, he's 18, isn't he? High scoring 18-year-old in the top 20 leagues or something like that. His output, his threat on goal, and he showed that. He showed that in his first game. He's a 6'4" brick shithouse. He's mental, and not only is he good with his feet and he's good at passing. To me, I think he will be massive in the future. He looks insane at what he's doing now at 18.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at him. He looks, when I say massive, he looks really tall and strong and that as well. For just a kid, I thought, like seeing him interviewed and everything, I thought he looked a very kind of what's the word, grown up kind of, sensible lad, and be interested to see how he goes. I'll be, if he doesn't go out on loan, I wouldn't be disappointed. I think it'd be good to kind of see how he kind of pans out over the course of the season, in my view, because there will be opportunities for him to play. I'm pretty sure of that. So yeah, I get that. So I guess that's what we've brought in. But we've still got a lot to do, right? I mean, in my mind, there's still so much we need. I still feel like we need a left back because we're playing, like say, Spence out of position, although doing a good job there. We still need a number 10. We still need, in my view, we still need another striker. We still need a left-sided player. So, of course, all the talk is about Eze and Savinho. There's been no here we goes today. So still a waiting game. What do you make? Are you happy with the idea of Eze?
Oh,
anyone
yes.
against it?
No, nobody would be. Apparently, Paratici is helping Palace find the replacement for Eze. So we'll see how that pans out.
They talk about that El Canous from Leicester to go go there, right?
He's the one that scored against us, wasn't he?
I don't know.
So, again, El Canous, not a bad player. So if you couldn't get Eze, would you go for him?
Absolutely, you got to, ain't you? Actually, he's a no-brainer for me. I think if there's ever been a player that looked like a Tottenham player, that for me it's been him. We've needed him, and we've been linked with him for so long that I was quite, shocked it's taken this long to even get to this point. And for him saying, yeah, he's interested in coming to Spurs as well, and all the discussions that are going on today. I think he cleared his Instagram of his affiliations to Crystal Palace and stuff, which sometimes is a bit of a sign. I know we, as football fans, we grab onto any kind of thing, don't we, to kind of give us some hope,
I saw a funny one. He followed Solanke's barber on Instagram.
You got too much time on your hands, you ever say?
It come up on my knees. I come up on Twitter, and it was just like breaking. Eze has followed Solanke and Richarlison's barber because they both have the same barber, apparently. But make of that as you will.
I love that. Make of that as you will. I've seen that. I've seen that one about someone's wife. Was it someone's wife was looking at tanning salons or something in the area where they were talking about moving to, and all this kind of stuff comes in. It's just so crazy, right? It does make me laugh.
Sometimes you get like the normal ones. It's like with De Bruyne, he went to Napoli, didn't he? And like Kane as well. Just their partners are out looking for houses. Like that. That is a pretty that's fair enough. But when people there's a way now online to see who your most recent followers are, and that's how they found it. Just hang on, that's Solanke's barber, and I'm pretty sure he followed Van der Ven like 2 days ago as well. There's some weird people online can figure it out.
I like to say, like your dad said, some people got too much time on their hands. What's the point? FC just said Eze is 27, so Levy isn't going to pay any more than 50 million for him. What do you think?
Yeah, how old is Ronaldo?
Well, this is it. This is the trouble. To be honest with you, I'm not sure that Levy is all about the specifics of the deals. I think it's about. I don't think it's just his decision. Oh, I'm not going to pay him no more than that. I think it's a kind of a club thing, isn't it? About these are the players of the ages we need, and this is the type of money that we're available for them, and all that sort of stuff. So I'm not sticking up for him, but I just think it's a culture of the club and the standards or the tenets that they kind of work to about exactly what they want. I think last year getting in all the youngsters was kind of foundations, but we absolutely have got to have some players of that kind of level, you know. And if you're talking about the sort of money that we're seeing being banded around, Eze has got to be worth 55, 60 million, you know.
Oh,
and
yeah,
if
definitely.
that's the going rate, that's the going rate. You can say I'm not going to pay that, I'm not going to pay over the odds or whatever, but ultimately at some point you're going to get caught up in it because you've got no other choice.
I mean,
You've got
it
no
was
other
only
The
choice.
problem you've got is you've got two hardball directors or owners that are arses to deal with. Right? Parish is an absolute nightmare, and Levy's a nightmare. So you've got two of them going, well, no, because you haven't wrote that word. And so it's going to be an absolute arse, but I think we'll get it over the line. They need money, but they don't want to keep losing all their players. So I get it, you know. But
that's like what Dean just said. It's if I cannot, so they got 4 players linked to leaving before the summer ends, and they're all their biggest players. Like Mateta apparently is looking at Newcastle if Isak goes. Liverpool want Gay here. City want Wharton, and we want Eze. They won't do that. They won't sell 4 players like that before the end of the window, or they might not even sell 4 players in the next 2 years because Wharton's he's 18, I think. Gayhe's got 1 year in his contract. He's most likely to go, but as you say, Parish being the hard owner he is, I don't think he'd let that fly. So if personally, I think we have to get Eze before Liverpool get Gahey because that's their 2 star players. They ain't gonna let them go within the space of a week.
Yeah, I mean, it is a shame for a team like Palace. I've got to be honest with you. I do have a little bit of sympathy for them because they've just done so well, like winning the FA Cup and then winning the Charity Shield and stuff, and a big kick in the teeth with the Europa League thing. Although I personally think them going into the conference, that gives them an opportunity. I think they could win that.
Oh,
and
easily.
What a great story that would be for them. So I do feel for them, and then having like pretty much every one of your players wanted by all the other clubs, sort of ripping them away from you must be really frustrating when you kind of feel like you're just kind of moving in the right direction. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this Eze thing turns out. I think, you know, for me, it's a no-brainer, a one we absolutely want and should have had a long time ago, in a desperate position that we really need, you know, as that number 10, someone who's a bit creative or whatever, can link up play for them games where you really need it. Because if you look at the PSG game, what we really needed when them substitutions come on was a ball player in the middle who could just receive the ball and kind of hold on to it, you know, break the play up and stop the wave after wave after wave of attack, because you could just feel it coming, couldn't you? So, you know, for me, he's absolutely the right one. What about Savinho? What's your views on that? I've got to be honest, right? I don't know the player. I don't really watch Man City, so I'm not sure, you know. But like hearing sort of money's like 70 million euros and this, that, and the other. I mean, you know, surely that's more unlikely than the Eze deal. Do you think, or not? Or am I looking the wrong way?
I mean, he's £70 million for a 21-year-old. To me, is a bit outrageous. So maybe in a few years' time, £70 million might be worth the money. Might be worth the money now. You just don't know. But £70 million on a 21-year-old is a bit outlandish for me. And for even then, he's a player of quality, but he sits on City's bench. Paying £70 million for someone who's not completely proven is a massive gamble, and I don't think we should be looking at a player. Because you know, you get all those stat merchants online. Oh, he has the most dribbles in the league. Yeah, but he's done that in 10 minutes. That's why it's so high. He barely starts for him. If he does, I don't know if he's done a lot. As you said, I don't watch him, but by the looks of things, he doesn't start for City. He doesn't really contribute a lot other than his progressive running, like Kudus. So I can see why they want him, because imagine Kudus and Savinho on the wing. You can't stop them, which is fair. So if you used to say to me, would you take £50 million for Savinho? Maybe. 40 million, yeah. But I think 70 million is outrageous for a 21-year-old who's not really proven.
There's a bit left.
Yeah.
What about Garnacho? Right?
See,
he's a bit
I
shit,
think
but he hates it there.
I actually thought when he came on in the Europa League final, I thought he was their best player.
Yeah,
and I thought if he'd have been in the starting 11, I don't think we would have won that game, if I'm honest.
No.
And I quite liked him, but the biggest issue I think with him is this issue of his attitude and stuff, because Frank has the no dickhead policy. So and the kind of word on the street, I guess, is that he's a bit of a dickhead. So I'm not sure how that kind of works, because you do have to have the right kind of attitude for people, don't you? You have to have the people that are going to fit in with your mindset and your attitude and stuff. I think that's one of the reasons why Bissouma's kind of hit a bit of a rock. So yeah, I don't know.
Again, go back to that. If Bissouma was in the side at the Super Cup, I don't think we would have lost it either.
Yeah, I like I say, I got a subscriber who commented that actually, Frank made a mistake in keeping, leaving him at home, amongst other things he said, but one being that it was racist for some reason. But anyway, he made the point that he should have took him because he's a defensive midfielder, and he could have helped us out. And maybe that is the case, but that's hindsight, right? You've got to stand up for what you believe in at some point and say, no, I'm not having that. If you're gonna keep turning up late, and I don't think it's all just about being late. I think there must be other stuff in it as well. I mean, you think last season it was the balloons, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, how many chances does the guy need to grow up? I mean, he's one of the older players who should be leading by example.
He should, like, didn't it? Every time we done something good or scored, it can't. Oh, I've got I'm switching on. Still ain't switched on. Thick as shit. But we've had this conversation before, haven't we? Like most of them football players, if they weren't football players, couldn't get a job in McDonald's. Sorry for McDonald's workers, but no, they couldn't do. They'd be lucky to get a fucking paper round.
Yeah. Again, they say it's young men with all that money at a very quick rate. Their lifestyle changes. That everything's at their fingertips. So if their feet don't stay on the ground, I suppose it's easy to lose your way.
Going back to what Dean said about Garnacho as well, I don't think you'd want to touch him with a 6-foot pole as well, because it's Man United are rotten to the core in terms of their structure, their players, their youth. So Garnacho coming in, I mean, I could have a Google now, and he's probably more money than half the squad. You can't be having a 21-year-old, the wage structure. You can't bring in a 21-year-old whose attitude stinks, wants to be the main player, who doesn't really prove that, and whilst demanding a lot of money. Like, I'm pretty sure Man United, their main striker now is on £260,000. He come from Wolves. He had one good season at Wolves.
See, this is the crazy thing, right? That kind of winds me up a little bit with a lot of stuff. Is when they always say, because we don't pay enough wages, we never get the right players and all the rest of it. And whilst I think there is a level in that for sure, but when you look at some of the money we were paying Timo Werner ridiculous amount of money, right? But he was still crap. So. And you look at the players at Man United, and even the players that they've kind of sent out on loan and all the rest of it. Just paying the money doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be great, because let's think back when we were all young men. I know Mason is still a young man, but when we were young men, I was on £1 an hour in my first job, and I lived like a king. I was out every weekend. I used to get a cab everywhere, right? And have a takeaway, and I was on £40 a week, right? So you lived your best life. Now, if you give someone £350,000 a week, right, and they're in that age, they're going to be living the life, aren't they? And that kind of just creates this issue of privilege and not sort of feeling what the real world feels like, or what real people have to kind of go through.
In all fairness, I take it back, Garnacho, in terms of footballers, he's not on crazy amount of money like Man United have, which, to be fair, is crazy. I think, so to be fair, he's on more than Van der Ven. He's on £50,000 a week. Van der Ven's, I think, still on 35. So even then, it breaks the wage structure to bring in players like that. Like anything to do with Man United, I think you want to stay away from. But
see, this is the trouble. Sorry, mate. This is the trouble when you start bringing people in and paying them a lot more than everybody else. It doesn't stop there with just that one player. It kind of snowballs down.
Makes the squad unhappy,
right? And the reason why we've got such high transfer fees. Sorry, I'm stuttering. Transfer fees and stuff. This all goes back to Neymar. When Neymar went to PSG and they paid, what was it, 200 million or something? It just filtered down to everybody. And your bang average players now are 40 million, 50 million pounds. Right? So when you want to buy a player like Eze, who is really ideal for what you need, that's when you're stuck in this rut of having to pay that sort of money. Do you know what I mean? It's just crazy that's how that filters out, and it just breaks football. It breaks everything for everybody, because you're then having to pay that money for everybody. The same with the wages. You then got all them wages you got to pay. So, your worst player ends up on 150 grand a week because you're paying your best player 350 grand a week. Do you know what I mean? So it's not just about that one player, and that's the difficult balance, and that's probably why we didn't go for Grealish in the end, and he's ended up going to Everton. I mean, what kind of seasons he get? What kind of seasons he going to have there?
Yeah, I mean, even then, as like what you say, like Grealish, he's on. I think he's on so much money, in like over 300 grand a week. I think he's on. It's crazy, but it's even more recently was the whole, the Gyökeres going to Arsenal. People used Cunha and Mbeumo as markers, like you said about Neymar. They went, well, if he's going for that, I'm sending him for that. Like Nicholas Jackson at Chelsea. Brilliant.
There's always one. You always capture one when you go fishing, don't you?
But there's with the whole new players coming in, I think Jackson was valued at £80 million. Who is paying Jackson £80 million? But that's because Chelsea have sat down on more, and Bremer's gone for 60 and he plays for Brentford. So that's not the same thing.
And that's the trouble, right? And that's where, like you say, if you're asking £80 million for Jackson, that's when you're saying, well, was 60 million bad for Solanke? Do you know what I mean? It's just one of them, isn't it? The prices are the prices that you've kind of got to get to, ain't you? So it is where it is. It is where it is. It's just one of those things. But just finishing off on the transfer thing, because we ain't going to solve it tonight. There's not been any notifications that I've missed. Is there that we've got someone or someone signed or whatever? Not that I've seen, but. So we did have some good news today. In Romero actually signing a new contract. And I know that's a massive improvement for us, considering all the talk about him going off to Madrid and all the rest of it, committing himself to the club, becomes the captain and all the rest of it. You've got to be happy with that. And
yeah, definitely. At least he's got balls to actually have a chat with the ref if it's not going our way. I'm not the previous captain.
Did you see him talking English as well? Because that was one of the big criticisms about him not being able to speak English. And I have to say, his English is far, far, far superior than my Spanish. Sure.
And mine as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, the media love to draw up a whole thing every year about us. I mean, even when Son scored all those goals for Ange's first season, he was apparently leaving. Kane, obviously, he's always been linked away. But Romero for the past 2 years has been, he's going. Porro recently as well, he's going. I don't expect them to stay much longer. But I've come to realise that it's a lot of the Spanish media love to name drop us for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, our media don't take any notice of us at all, do they, Dean? We talk, me and Dean talk about it, most of the time, that we don't get the recognition that we deserve, sort of thing. Match of the day, wherever it is. You know,
Yeah, I was
Richarlison's
watching the
goal.
old the BBC website. You know, I'm going, oh, what are they going? What have they said about Richarlison's second goal? And it went like this is they tell man. It went goal, Richarlison, right-footed to the bottom left corner. That was it. That was what they said about Richarlison's overhead kick, right? The bicycle kick and the Cuda. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then when you watched all that, it was, I think yesterday it said Liverpool. Bearing in mind they played fucking Friday. And then they went down. And it was something about fucking cycling and then hockey. And then there was us, right? We weren't even in the fucking football section when they was going, look at this. We were right down at the bottom. They hate us. They're pricks, mate. I fucking can't stand it.
I think the more we become more successful, hopefully this season, the less they're gonna have to change their ways and start talking about us a bit more, because we don't get any recognition. No, I don't know what we've done.
No,
but.
No, it just seems like a thing, we're almost a Premier League's Millwall, aren't we? No one likes us. We don't care.
I mean, I think the whole thing about it is that we haven't got a pundit to big us up all the time. We got Redknapp, but he's a Liverpool fan. That's what makes me laugh. It's just like, well, yeah, get him on to talk about Spurs. Why? Well, I don't think we have in the media. There's no one really bigging us up. That's why I like seeing expressions a little bit going on Sky Sports, because at least he tells you what we think.
And he's tall.
He's very tall.
Very tall, isn't he?
But no, that's why I don't mind seeing him briefly going on Sky Sports, because at least he says what we're thinking as fans. Because you get bloody Redknapp go on there, and he's saying the opposite of what we're thinking. And you're like, well, brilliant. There's no representation for us.
I have to say, I can't believe that Expression's got himself into the bloody news conference with Thomas Frank. I just could not believe. I heard his voice. That is Expression's talking there. What the hell is he doing in there, doing that? But anyway, that boy, he does make me laugh. He does make me laugh. And fair play to him.
Funny bloke.
We saw a movie star on the way out. We saw a movie star on the way out. Yeah. You don't know his name. What's his name, Mason? Google it.
Eddie Marzan.
Eddie Marzan. Yeah.
Eddie Marzan.
We had a photograph taken with him, sort of thing. He was a nice chap. Mason. Mason.
He's a Hackney boy, isn't he? He's from Hackney. Yeah. He's a good bloke. He was in Ray Donovan. If you've ever watched Ray Donovan, he was in
Ray Donovan. Yeah, he's his brother. I think he was also in Deadpool. What he Mason? As you kept telling that bloke, what was you calling him?
Yeah, he's the pedo from Deadpool.
I'll tell you what, not the bloke out of World's End or anything like that. No, he was the pedo.
No, he's the pedo from. I bet he thought himself of all the films in all the world. He had to take that one.
He was. I'll tell you what else he was also in. He was in The Gentleman. He was an editor, newspaper editor in the Gentleman. Really played brilliant. Yeah, show him your kung fu. show him your karate. I'm only a green belt.
Blue belt.
Get in a van.
Yeah. Listen, we're talking about films and Eddie Marzan now, so we're obviously going to start losing our viewers, and we are over an hour already. So, I did just want to bring this last bit up that Dave Clark put into the chat, which I thought was a really good point, and I hadn't thought about it before, and I do think this is right, that Levy didn't bring in Venkatesham or Peter Charrington. They are both Joe Lewis's people. Charrington's the ex-CEO of Citibank and has the higher profile. So they were forced onto the board. And I think that's a really good point, really, is that with Donna Cullen leaving and Venkatesham coming in, Charrington coming in, I think there are some changes in the board. And there was that talk that Levy will actually be pushed to the back, away from football-related issues. So it'd be interesting to see whether that does happen. Because it would definitely benefit the club for him to step away. Certainly in terms of building relationships with the fans, because I think I don't think that relationship's ever gonna kind of
improve.
Heal.
That's the thing with Levy. He's a brilliant businessman. I don't think anyone can say that he's not. But he hasn't got the footballing brain. And even then, he brought in, what was his name? Is it Scott Munn? He tried to
Got money.
bring in. Yeah, apparently he's never worked in football before, and he was always rugby. That's what I read up on. I don't think he's ever been involved in. Let me have a look at that because I might be spouting utter bollocks. But
yeah, no, I think he was involved in football, but he was also involved in the Olympics and stuff, wasn't he? Like planning and all around the Olympics and stuff. I got a feeling.
I like to be fair, yeah, Melbourne City.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at Levy commercially, brilliant, right? So they should be able to run the commercial side of things. Let somebody else run the football side of things, but he won't ever do it. He's such a micromanager, and he just can't. He can't stop going. Oh, can I have a look at that bit first? No, you don't take him on. But everybody says how hard he is to deal with, but he does get good deals. I mean, some of the stuff he pulls off, you think, how the fuck did he do that? You know, paying that amount of money for. No, they want it all up front. No, you can have it over 3 years. Then we can have this, and this. So he's a good deal maker, but I think we lose a lot because of what he does as well.
I mean, you want him in the negotiating room always, don't you? Just the stuff you hear about him. It's like he walks into the table. It's like, what was the deal? Where it nearly fell through, but Levy flew over to make sure it was done. I can't remember what it was. It was recent, but apparently it was essentially it's just like, it's talks of stalled. The next one, it was like Levy's flying out to go talk to someone, and when he flew out and got it sorted within like 2 or 3 hours. I can't remember. It was a recent sign. I think it was it was last summer.
Was it the Tell one?
It was Tell. It was Tell.
Yeah.
It was because Tell was like, I don't know, with all the money behind it. That's it. They couldn't get the fee lowered down. And Levy fucking flew to Bayern Munich and got it sorted out within 2 hours.
I just wanted to come back on that thing because again, this is something I've also heard as well that Dave's talking about, is that Joe Lewis, his daughter, is the one who will get her dad's shares when he's gone, and her and Levy's relationship is not the best. And she is a big Spurs fan. So it may be that things will get brighter in the future. But
she was at the game as well, wasn't she? Was she at the game Saturday?
I don't know, to be honest.
How good's your eyesight?
I can't remember. I can't remember a lot about what else happened at the game.
Saturday.
Yeah, you was a bit pissed, though, wasn't you?
A little bit, just a little bit. Had a great day though. Listen, guys, it's an hour and 15 minutes. I think we've kind of got as far as we're going to get. I've really enjoyed chatting to you boys. It's been really good because we've been able to just chat without it being too structured and stuff. And I think that was good. I just wanted to say to everyone in the chat, thanks for all the comments in the chat. I've been trying to go through them and stuff. Hello to all the people in there. It's good to know that you're there with us and kind of going through. Apologies if we bored you with the Eddie Marzan bit. But we are. We're obviously.
It just goes to show that the club is being watched by people that, superstars, movie stars, pop stars, not just
Eddie
boring people like us.
Eddie Marzan from a little lad from Hackney, bless him. Anyway, look, guys, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it there. So all I'm gonna left to say is thanks to everyone for watching. We've appreciated having you here, and hopefully we can come back next week if time permits, and we can have another chat with the boys from Essex. Thanks all. Up the Spurs.
Go on to Tottenham.
Don't know what's happening there. End of stream. Thanks, boys.
See you later.